Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're getting your week off to a good start. If you're new, thank you for checking the channel out. And there is some pretty big news coming today about AT&T, this whole Discovery merger deal. It's usually a pretty big story when this kind of thing happens. There's a lot of trades covering it, so there's plenty of articles you can read or find to get more details about it. And there's also information on Discovery Inc.'s own website detailing this merger plan between AT&T and Discovery. It's pretty much going to kind of dissolve Warner Media between these two, huge industry leaders. It's also interesting to note that AT&T just barely acquired Warner Brothers, Warner Media, all of its IP and properties a couple of years ago. It has not been very long. We remember hearing about this merger. Hasn't been very long, but it seems like AT&T is already ready to kind of rid themselves of it. With all of the things that have come to light and have happened over the past few years with Warner Media and Warner Brothers, it's not really surprising. I think it shows that, there's been a lot of infighting and things that they could not agree on, and just a lot going on. If there's a lot of this coming to light publicly, then that means there's even more going on behind the scenes that we don't see and hear about. So it's not really surprising. But I just want to go over some of the highlights. Like I said, there's a lot to get through with this story, but let's just go over some of the highlights and key points from this merger. All right. So AT&T and Discovery Inc. have made it official, unveiling their plan to merge their media entertainment assets in a deal that will bring together TV channels like CNN, TBS, TNT, HGTV, Food Network, and Discovery Channel, the Warner Brothers Film Studio, and streaming services HBO Max and Discovery Plus. So they said the merger would create a global leader in entertainment and a stronger competitor in global streaming, because Discovery is kind of working in that direction as well, knowing that streaming is becoming, like the future of entertainment, and kind of has been already, but even more so. So the new company will compete globally in the fast-growing direct-to-consumer business, bringing compelling content to direct-to-consumer subscribers across its portfolio, including HBO Max and the recently launched Discovery Plus. The transaction will combine Warner Media's storied content library of popular and valuable IP with Discovery's global footprint, trove of local language content, and deep regional expertise across more than 200 countries and territories. So that's also something that kind of separates Discovery from Warner Media, Warner Brothers, HBO Max. Discovery has more of a global reach as far as what is available to people worldwide. So hopefully that will help HBO Max and what's on HBO Max become more available worldwide as well. They highlighted that the new company will be able to invest in more original content for its streaming services, enhance the programming options across its global linear, pay TV, and broadcast channels, and offer more innovative video experiences and consumer choices. So it kind of gets into more detail about that as well, as far as what it would mean for like the streaming services and bundling them together. The fact that HBO Max is more of a premium priced streaming service. This part right here kind of just talks about like the kind of transaction in which they're making this merger, how much AT&T is going to receive. They're receiving $43 billion in cash, debt securities, Warner Media's retention of certain debt, and AT&T's shareholders would receive stock representing 71%. Talks about Wall Street and the hand they have. So as far as who will be the CEO of this whole new big merged content company, it will be the Discovery CEO, David Zaslav. So the AT&T CEO, John Stankey, is now going to be the CEO of this whole new merged company, but they're the ones who started, talking about it with each other. It says there is no word about a role for Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar. The companies say the deal will close in 2022, subject to shareholder and regulatory approvals. In another article that I was reading about it, it says that as of right now, Jason Kilar still kind of holds his position, but, there's going to be a lot to work out with certain executives and positions and getting people moved around and or probably not going to be there anymore. Usually when mergers like this happens, there's a lot of people that don't keep their job. So we'll see what happens with that. The combined company is expected to have $52 billion in revenue in 2023. And companies say there will be a $3 billion in cost synergies through the combination. AT&T is going to focus more of their efforts on their 5G and fiber broadband area. So this agreement unites two entertainment leaders with complementary content strengths and positions the new company to be one of the leading global direct-to-consumer streaming platforms, which is what John Stankey, the AT&T CEO, said in a statement. He said it will support the fantastic growth and international launch of HBO Max with Discovery's global footprint and create efficiencies which can be reinvested in producing more great content to give consumers what they want. So that's what I was going, this kind of goes back to what I was saying about, getting HBO Max on a more of a global position to be available in a lot more countries worldwide with the help of Discovery. Now, Zaslav, who's the CEO of Discovery and will be the CEO of this merged company, said, "During my many conversations with John, we always came back to the same simple and powerful strategic principle. These assets are better and more valuable together. It is super exciting to combine much historic brands, world-class journalism, and iconic franchises under one roof and unlock so much value and opportunity. With a library of cherished IP, dynamite management teams, and global expertise in every market in the world, we believe everyone wins. Consumers with more diverse choices, talent, and storytellers, with more resources and compelling pathways to larger audiences, and shareholders with a globally scaled growth company committed to a strong balance sheet that is better positioned to compete with the world's largest streamers." So it seems like they're going to be focusing very heavily, like it says, on direct to consumer, streaming, creating more original content, storytellers. That's hopefully a good sign as to what this is going to mean. So the rest of this article kind of just talks about other big mergers that have happened between different companies. And then there's this other article where it kind of has more of what the CEO, David Zaslav, is going to focus on. He says that relationships with talent will be number one priority. All right, so this kind of just starts talking about like how the conversation came about. He said, "I was sitting around on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon and I just texted John," meaning John Stankey, "and we ended up on a 2-hour conversation about the future of media." So that's kind of how their conversation started about doing this. I don't know how long ago this started. Obviously, we don't know. I mean, usually by the time this stuff comes out publicly and then the details just came out today, I mean, that kind of conversation has to take a while, I'm sure, to get to this point. But it says that under the terms of the deal, AT&T will spin off entertainment arm Warner Media and combine it with Discovery, creating a TV, film, and streaming powerhouse. So AT&T's Warner Media owns the likes of Warner Brothers, HBO, HBO Max, and then the Turner cable networks like CNN, TNT, TBS. And then on the Discovery side, we have Discovery Channel, HGTV, TLC, Food Network, OWN, and Animal Planet. So that's a lot of little houses all under one big umbrella of media and entertainment. So it seems like it's all going to be combined into one under the Discovery umbrella, And again, Zaslav is saying that we think together the combination makes us the best media company in the world. And again, they're going to be spending money on new content. He says that we will be one company, one culture, one mission, which is great stories, great content that entertains people in every country around the world. So it seems like they want to have a pretty diverse library of media, which kind of under the Discovery umbrella alone, there's diverse media and content, which is very different from kind of what Warner Media does or has done up until this point, now that they're going to be spun off. Yeah. Now here it's kind of getting into Jason Kilar's role, and it says Jason is still the CEO of Warner Media, which is what John Stankey said, adding that Zaslav has a lot of decisions to make about personnel. Speaking about Jason Kilar, Zaslav said he's a fantastic talent, noting that he got to know him when he was developing Hulu, and that the focus will be on talking to everybody at Discovery and everybody at Warner Media, and we will be trying to figure out how to get the best people to stay. So I think that's going to be a part that's very interesting to a lot of us fans who have paid attention to everything going on with Warner Media and Warner Brothers and DC over the years, to see which people they decide to keep. And I think that's going to be very telling in and of itself, who they decide to keep around. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of decisions that they have to make as far as, merging these two companies together, deciding who to keep and, who not to. And that the Discovery CEO said that his number one priority will be building relationships with the creative community, and that he plans to spend time in LA, New York, anywhere else that the talent company works with are based. So he said that I will be anywhere in the world with where the creatives are to strive to create the best creative culture. So that's positive so far. We want our company to be the place where people that want creativity, they want flexibility, they want stories, they will come to us. So it seems like that's the kind of people they're trying to attract, not only to work with, but that want to watch what they create. I'm hoping that that's positive on the DC side. And I mean, for anyone that wants to work with them, because everything that's come out about Warner Media, Warner Brothers lately, I feel like it's probably turning off people from working with them, directors, actors, whoever. And like I said, what we just know publicly, that means people in the industry know a lot more about this. And so hopefully that's a positive thing for all of this. Now, as far as HBO Max and kind of incorporating streaming services for direct-to-consumer type things, Zaslav said they would develop a model for CNN and that they're still figuring out how they would incorporate HBO Max with its focus on premium fare, which is what I was saying. It's more than like Disney Plus and Netflix, and Discovery Plus, which is their streaming service with its lifestyle-driven options. He said that we will have enormous flexibility in how we package our streaming services. We will look at the range of options to unlock value here in the US and around the world, including a super pack that combines all the assets in one service, or a bundled offering similar to what Disney is doing with Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. So that will, I guess, come with time. We'll find out more about that, how that's going to work. If you already have HBO Max, we'll find out more about that. However, I don't know if you guys remember a while back, HBO Max came from HBO Max, Warner Media, whatever, saying that in June they're going to launch a ad-supported version of HBO Max that will be less expensive than the premium one. But so it says here that for the time being and until the deal closes, which is supposed to be I think early to mid 2022, both Discovery and Warner Media are pushing ahead with HBO Max's ad-supported offering, still set to launch in June. So as of right now, that's still on track to launch in June, a less expensive ad-supported version of HBO Max. So until the deal closes, we will fight to build the best Discovery on a parallel track, Zaslav said. He added, however, that the company has chosen a name for the combined venture. It will be announced in the next week or so. So in the very near future, there will be a name, like a release for this whole new venture, this new combined company, what it's going to be called. And of course, over the next, months and probably year, we'll find out more about what's going to happen. We'll obviously find out who's going to stick around, which I think people are going to be most interested in. If you're, if you want to restore the Snyderverse and if you support that, you're going to really be interested in who sticks around. And then we'll find out, time's going to tell. We'll start realizing, I guess, changes that start happening with DC and different IPs and different properties, and depending on what you're most interested in and what you want to follow as far as, this whole thing happening. However, New York Times is reporting that Jason Kilar is said to be negotiating his exit and that he has hired a legal team to maybe try to do that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. It doesn't seem like a stretch in this situation. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people, especially in executive positions, that are going to be wanting a severance, or because, there's people that, these people mostly have contracts. So, when something like this happens, I'm sure if they're not going to keep them around, or their position is going to be kind of like obsolete with these mergers, I'm sure they have to, they want to figure out a severance, or like it says, hire a legal team to figure out a way to negotiate an exit. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the coming months and years with this whole thing. Hopefully it means positive things. Hopefully it's a step in the right direction. And, I'm optimistic about David Zaslav's comments about the creativity and kind of focusing on those kinds of relationships. And it also makes me wonder, lately, while promoting Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder has been even more open and candid about his troubles with Warner Brothers. We knew that, but he's been a little bit more explicit about this whole thing, and his statement about cooler heads will prevail, and just his recent comments about it, being by WB torturing him the whole time he was trying to get the Snyder Cut out and all of those things. I wonder if he kind of knew that this was going on, or that this was possibly happening, and that it was kind of, giving him the feeling that he could be a little bit more open and honest about it, knowing that this could possibly be happening very soon. It just makes me wonder that. I'm not saying that that's true, but it makes me wonder. Because Zack is also saying that he wrote a third 300 movie during the pandemic, but Warner Brothers took a pass, which is no surprise. So he said, "I was writing this thing about Alexander the Great, and it just turned into a movie about the relationship between Hephaestion? Oh God. And Alexander. It turned out to be a love story, so it really didn't fit in as a third movie, but there was that concept, and it came out really great. It's called Blood and Ashes, and it's a beautiful love story, really, with warfare. I would love to do it. WB said no. They're not huge fans of mine. It is what it is." And then recently, like I said, he made the comment about Warner Brothers still tortured me the whole time for whatever reason. They can't help it. I don't know why I'm such a freaking pain in their ass, because I'm not trying to be, honestly. So that's pretty interesting that it says during the pandemic lockdown, Warner Brothers became interested in a third 300 film, and the studio gave him the go-ahead to write the script. And they both felt like it would be the final chapter of the 300 series, both Zack and the studio. But Snyder admitted he ended up writing a completely different story, which they took a pass on. So when those rumors were coming out about Alexander the Great, about Zack working on an Alexander the Great movie, I wonder if that's where it came from, if it was coming from this. But there's also a possibility of Zack making a King Arthur movie, right? So I don't know, but this is pretty interesting. I'm surprised they even gave him the go-ahead to write a script, knowing how they feel about him and how much they clash. But I just wanted to throw that in there because I saw this right before making this video. And like I said, it kind of makes you wonder if possible knowledge of this was kind of encouraging Zack to be a little bit more open and honest about just how bad things have been between he and Warner Brothers. But I'll stop this. I know this was a lot of information to cover, but it's pretty big news, and it's a pretty big deal. Like I said, hopefully it means positive things are coming in the very near future. I wouldn't say it's an immediate confirmation that they're going to continue with the Snyderverse or anything like that, but I'm hoping that it can't get any worse than it has been. And that, like I said, hopefully it means good, positive things. Especially if certain people are not involved anymore. And, if like he said, if they do focus on people that are creative centered and storytelling driven and all of that kind of thing, then hopefully that means that's a good thing. But just wanted to share that with you guys and kind of go over it. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and if you're new, subscribe if you enjoy my content as well. And we'll see you guys next time.